Yes, no. All right, cool. All right, Khalid. It looks like we're live. So I've got your K on the screen here, but I need to get my camera up. Oh, there I am. Great. Um, yeah, like I was saying to you, I just use a web browser for everything. So I realized if I made an accessible video component, then I could just use that as my streaming system. It's kind of working out pretty well. But
Nice.
yeah, Khaled, welcome. I'm excited to have you to talk about some non-visual data science experiences that you've been having. Looking forward to having a conversation and eventually getting to some live programming and potentially helping you with your homework. Um, but yeah, welcome.
Yep. Thanks, Tony, for the idea. I think it's an experiment. It's an experiment. So we'll see how it goes. That should be fun.
We will indeed. We've been talking over the past couple months. We met at the IOTA School non-visual data science workshop, right? And it's really interesting to hear about the different needs and experiences that y'all are having. And it just seems like ripe for opportunity to make the blind, low vision data science experience better, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that really kicked today off was I've been thinking about this for so long since the first day that you told me that your homework was to make a heat map, and you've been stressing out about it. And it's made me think a
Yep.
lot. Like, how would I write alt text for an image? Um, and or for a heat map, right? They're very complicated things. So we've got actually. I think these are the first people to ever concurrently watch my stream here. But somebody asked Khaled to kind of describe this homework problem a little bit more that we'll eventually get to. And yeah, please give us an overview.
Yeah, exactly. One of the actually, since you mentioned heat map, just a few days ago, I was like before to create. I was creating like 10 principal component analysis for 38 different cryptocurrencies, and I created the heat map. It's supposed to be in four group. I used the k-mean cluster for four groups, and the only way for me to find out what's happening, I asked AI. So
Right,
there are three different ways. So I used one of the new features in JAWS is called Picture Smart, which is connected to GPT-4 and Claude, and there is the Be My AI or Be My Eyes. It's now available in Windows. I used that, and so what happened? I had a pair of sighted eyes telling me what's in the heat map. But when I ask the AI, so sometimes this is the problem. You don't know exactly whether you will get a correct information or not.
right,
So when I use Claude and GPT, both has they mentioned there are three colors. They mentioned that four different shade of colors: black, green, blue, purple, and orange, I think. But they had them in different places.
right,
So the ordering of the colors was different. And they mentioned one of them mentioned that in the purple there were three cryptocurrencies, the other one mentioned two. So I had to ask, what about XRP? Is it on the purple? It said no, that was in number one. Then I asked the other one, it told me no, it's in group number three. So it just kept telling me different answer, and I was getting confused. Which one? Whom should I trust?
right. Wow,
And this
that's
is a simple thing. Like if a sighted people will just look, okay, you will have a clear idea, because my understanding there are four colors and there are in total 38, and they are divided to these four heat maps, and you can just have a look, you can have a clear idea. I spent like 15 hours interacting with these different tools just to figure out, and the more I interact, the more I get confused. So I ended up asking someone, please tell me what's on the right and what's on the left and what colors are there.
Well, the darkest comedy happens when that person you ask doesn't realize they might have a color blindness, right?
Yeah,
So who even knows at this point? That sounds so you mentioned like 15 hours of work. What do you think that that work was for somebody who is a visual programmer?
I think it will just be so the coding part is just get by experience, but the to figure out that what the results that so to create a visualization is easy, but the problem how to really visualize it. So I had to save them in folders, so I had to create them and ask in my code to save them in my folder, in my local folder, then go to these pictures and then paste them somewhere that can explain them to me to make sure, okay, then, and sometimes you have like 36. So for to do the correlation, I had to generate like, because I had like 38 cryptocurrencies and they were comparing them with four. So four with 34. So I had to do the top positive, four positive and negative. They were like 36 different visualization to find out which one. So it's a really tedious
Yeah,
process to find out which one to then, because I have to, it's not just about creating them and then I have to explain what's happening. So this is where it takes time. So I find myself like it of course it will improve by experience because I didn't mention that I'm not from a computer science background.
hmm
I came from humanities background and I studied English and linguistics and teaching English. So I I just entered the world of data science and just last year or just in the last 6 months. So it's fairly new to me. So I'm assuming by the more I do it, or it will become, then I will create my own workflow, how to improve things, how to make things faster. But even though, no matter I think how much productive, still there are some obstacles that will delay you.
yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing um, that perspective. And I think the one thing that stuck out the most to me that seems to be you're getting congratulations on your life change from Maddie Sparrow, Mads Sparrow. Oh my God, I is my site getting worse? I keep cranking up the font and then like cranking it down, and I'm like, oh no. Anyway, yeah, congratulations on that. So, have you been programming for 1 year, or were you able to?
Yes, yeah, only 1 year. So I always was interested in in technology, but I haven't done, and I just try to teach myself. But so I just started doing a master's degree in website, in sorry, not web science, data science, just in last October, and this is where it all happened. So what I learned in 3 months, like what I've done in 2 years, 3 years as self-study, like being in a class with other group, like and having deadlines and doing assignments, like what I learned in 3 months, much more than what I learned on my own in 2, 3 years, just following different YouTube tutorials and so on.
That's really, really impressive. So you kind of had to cobble together your own data science resources, basically. Like you're making your own resources just constantly. It seems like that's part of the day to day for any blind or low vision technologist.
Yeah, and this is why it was nice. Like I very like the idea of creating that the mailing list with the just recently the data like blind data scientists, so we can learn from each other experience. And I'm hoping maybe we can use that more, and maybe we have a monthly meeting or some to learn from each other, because it's not many people who are doing it, and everyone will have different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now, I'm going to take a quick break and do this advertisement. I actually have the Blind Coders website up. Um, it's probably one of the most accessible sites I've been to in a while. And Patrick from the IOTA School put it together, who's also IOTA School is also letting us use their Zoom to work together here. But the first link here is a link for a list about blind for blind coders to ask questions about non-visual data science, and hopefully people subscribe and we can build that community. And
Yep, I
then
highly encourage that.
yeah, the needs of blind and low vision data scientists is specifically unique and challenging, right? Because in a lot of ways the web content accessibility guidelines don't really cover your use cases, you know. So figuring out what y'all's needs are, I think, requires stuff like this where we have these conversations and hear about your experiences and what we can do to improve it. Um, I wanted to make another comment on the monthly call. So I guess I this is basically our monthly call, Khalid. But maybe I'll run another Notebooks for All event soon, where we can all connect. The nice thing is that so many courses are in notebooks. The unnice thing is that it's an inaccessible nightmare to actually work in. And I wish we've done better by y'all. But the Notebooks for All program is here to advocate for blind and low vision data scientists and the tools that they need to be supported in open science. So you've been to a few of those. I think we've had some good discussions. Good to hear some like-minded experiences.
Yeah, and I see like lots of like the idea of like notebook. Like I'm so surprised. Like some like Google Colab is not doing like you've well. I was attending a YouTube course. Somewhere you can grab this link from Google Colab, but the problem it's you cannot see the output and you cannot follow with it's it's usable but it's not accessible because you don't know you cannot jump between you don't know how many edit boxes how many cells are there how to know which cells has output which cells has no output so it's confusing.
Yeah, yep, yep. And we're working on the reference implementations, and a lot of the feedback that you've given me has been supporting in that. It's just that it's really hard to fight against the tide of open source. It is retrofitting accessibility is remarkably costly. Um, okay. So there's a question in here, and I'm curious about this. This could be a landmine potentially. But is it easier to use Notebook on VS Code? Um, Mad Sparrow is saying the only way they've been able to uh, deal with it is VS Code, and they're a cited developer. Um, I don't know how you feel about VS Code.
Yeah, vscode is like the I have the extension for notebook. It's much better than the notebook on from the browser, but still navigating it is not like I downloaded just 2 days ago a notebook someone created. I wanted to check that. It has 475 cells. Uh, and for me to go through it, so
And no
I have to
landmarks,
to
no
to go to each
navigation.
cell, press enter, and then read the code, press escape, go out, and then move to the next. So what I did, I just created a short script. I converted it to text file, and I was reading it in Notepad just to have an idea what's happening.
Amazing.
I found
I'm like laughing on the inside, but just laughing on the outside, but dying on the inside. Um, I wish you didn't have to do that, right? The okay, so there's a topic I wanted to get into. Are you largely using the terminal then? Like, is the terminal kind of the
yes, I use Windows Terminal.
yeah?
But
So you look at data frames in the terminal then?
yes, in the terminal.
Do you
which
think
is
they could be better?
mm, definitely 100%.
Awesome. Awesome. That's what we really want to talk about today.
Especially when you get an output, like sometimes when you get a long output, it's really annoying to hear every single thing. And if I press the control panel to silent the text to speech, then I have to press insert and then go to the like the virtual cursor and start from the last line and then go on my way up and then try to find where I was and then to read it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So the unfortunate thing, Khalid, is that if you were to go even to use like a data frame in the browser right now, it's not going to work too great for you.
There
Um,
is just I remember there is a shortcut in Windows Terminal, Control Shift M,
mm,
which is a nice shortcut. It at least it helps you to read line by line, but you start from the last line. But however, it's not when you press left and right, you cannot. So you have to read just line by line. If you press left and right, it could be much better, but you cannot select. So if you press left and right, it will just repeat the same line. So maybe it's something to be improved with Windows Terminal. It's
mm,
Control Shift M.
right, right. So I'm actually sharing a blog post that I wrote a little bit ago that goes through an analysis of what it would mean to have like an accessible table. And eventually, what I got to was I got to this pretty cool place where you might see a NumPy array and it's a thousand by a thousand, right? Like that would be very hard to manage non-visually. But it would be truncated. So now it would actually say there's a table that's a thousand by a thousand, but it only shows the truncated versions. There's actually ways for us to like mark up the table so you know the size and the shape of it, right? I'm
Yeah.
actually so here's what I'm going to do real fast. If you give me a second, I'm actually going to open up your crypto data correlation file here. So I'm going to use just you sent me some CSV. Well, I was
Yeah,
sharing an
CSV.
image just a second ago, which was one of these positive correlations because you were talking that you had like 30 something images to share. So I actually have them all listed here, where it's like BTC, USD versus blah, blah, blah. There's top correlations and stuff like that. So did you create all, how did you use these files?
So what I did, I I had created a JSON file with the actual crypto that I need and the date range, and I
Mm-hmm.
just imported Yahoo Finance,
Mm,
and I asked it, okay, I need for these 34 cryptocurrencies, I need the data from April 2023 till
mm-hmm.
or 22 till April 2024. And then in the code, I just created a CSV file for these and saved them in my cryptocurrency, what I call it, directory
Mm-hmm.
folder. And then I just did the dot correlation. So
Nice.
to get these two files, then because I did between 4 against 34, so I had to do these 4. So I did before that, I selected these 4 particular ones is when I did the principal component analysis and then
Mm,
k-mean cluster. Then I picked from each group one cryptocurrencies, and then I'm doing the comparing these 4 with the others for the same range. And then I did like I had to do min and max normalization to just to make sure that they
sure.
are similar. So it's because BTC is like 60,000 and the other one is less than $1, so it will
So
it
I've got normalized
yep,
values here, it looks like,
yep, this is
underscore
the yep.
normalized.
Yeah, so all of them will be between -1 and 1.
So did you feed any of these images that you made into like Claude or any AI to help
Yes.
you? And, and
Yes,
that
after
would,
I generated them, I just checked them through And I think I mentioned to you, now I don't remember, I mentioned that it showed that BTC is highly correlated with another cryptocurrency. I cannot remember now.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure that out. We'll get to that, right?
Yep.
Because like, what's this? What's the point in a heat map? Let me see if I can pull one. Is there a heat? Is the correlation matrix of cryptocurrencies? Is that a heat map?
Yeah, this is the heat map. Yeah,
All
this is the
right.
heat map because this
Let's
had
see this.
all of
Let's
them
see
together.
this. And I'm gonna look. I know you made this. And it's not fair. All right, cryptocurrencies. Come on, give me some completion. Correlation matrix. There we go. All right, almost have it up. Okay, so what we've got is how many cryptocurrencies are we looking at? Like 34, you said?
30, they are 38 in total, but we are doing correlation between 4 and the other 34. So
Okay. Okay. Well, this one looks like there's 34. It looks like it's all of them in the square. Um, but we've got values from negatives, like a little negative point 0.2 to about 1. And the 1 value comes from the fact that the diagonal of the matrix is always the same. So this is for folks who are watching and are unfamiliar. This is called the Pearson correlation matrix, and this is a visualization of that data. Um, so the Pearson correlation coefficient. Now I'm going to go and try and make this real fast, Khalid, if that's cool,
yep.
while you're hanging out here, because I pulled up your data frame and I want to see if I can just get something similar here. But
Yeah, I
like,
remember that BTC and Ethereum, they were the highly correlated stuff, I think.
okay, BTC and Ethereum. All right, we'll check that
Yep.
out. But like the thing is, the question that I have, or the question that I would like to design around, is how fast could you find that value? And if I do better than 15 hours, I think I'm good at this job.
Yep.
So let's see if we can get there. So it's interesting when you're looking at this heat map. So we're looking at it right now, and it's a square. It's a grid. I mean, so many things are grids these days, and then you have numbers overlaid on the colors. Now, some of the fonts colors are white, and some of the font colors are black. So that means that
Interesting.
there's black and white almost creating an impurity in the colors you're seeing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So,
So that may be what confused the AI to understand what's happening.
hey, you know what? That's absolutely true, Khaled. That might actually be the thing. If you were to try that experiment without numbers, maybe it could do better. But yeah, no, there might be some trickery or shenanigans going on here that might make it hard to. Yeah, so here's another thing too. So when you have something that's 1.00, the text is bigger than the square that it's in. The one part of the 100 is white, and when it gets over to the cells next to it, it turns into black. So it's actually, yeah, this the text could be affecting this. And it's
Yep.
important to sit on this because sometimes heat maps are actually shown with the text. And it's probably important to recognize how a font could change that, right? Because the density of an 8 and the density of a 1 are very different. So there would be some color offset from the font.
Yep. And there should be like good contrast, I think, for
Mm-hmm.
even for sighted people to look at it to have a clear idea. The contrast should be clear as well.
That's great. That's great. I actually got a question from a colleague the other day. High charts. They asked me about colorblind plots and techniques. So I want to share this resource while we're talking about it. But High Charts has probably one of the better resources for this. So what they recommend doing is using monochrome palettes. So we're going to keep that in mind when we make our heat map. They're consider using a high contrast theme, and then consider using dash or pattern fill styles. So you can basically use line and tone without having to invoke color. and it's a good study, you know. And where all this stuff fails, I always like to. I'm pretty sure I might have mentioned chartability on every single stream I've done. But chartability is a set of heuristics for accessible data visualization systems and experiences. So in this, it actually gives you a way to do visual testing of color contrast, which is something that we'd want to consider. Now, one of the things that's interesting about your plot here, Khalid, is that there's a really strong tendency towards the correlation of one. So one is like that means that when so the diagonal says that when how does ETH change when ETH changes? So they are
Yep.
correlated to one. If they moved exactly the opposite, they would be correlated to -1. Um,
So that means
so
it's highly positive. Like,
right, right. But I don't think that you have any values that are really that I don't know how many values might actually be near one. So that one value might actually be creating like a visual bias in the colors that we represent. So it might actually make sense to just like put a 0 there because 0 would be the middle of a correlation. And then this way that we wouldn't be so visually affected by the middle one values.
yeah, just I remembered I was one of the errors I was getting that it cannot. So it seems some of the cells has 0, and then so it cannot divide by 0. So I
Right.
had to
Yep. Had to do fill NA.
I had to fill just one. I googled that because I'm not a mathematician. It
Nice.
suggested I use 1E-8 or -10. I don't know even how you can read that. Like, so it's a small value, just that negligible.
Nice, nice. It's really cool. All right, now I've learned a lot about your project, right? I'm even up to the point of thinking about the PCA. To be honest with you, so let me talk through a little bit of code quickly, and we kind of continue along talking about this. Um, so I've pulled up your data frame here. I've used pandas read CSV. And then I loaded the file name, crypto data correlation from the date range. And then I did a set index on the date. I don't know if you thought to do that.
No, what I did, I didn't do any. I just created the CSV file. I just did everything related to arranging the data in the JSON file, and I just created like different. I had like 6, 7 different Python files. Each one does different things. So loading one does
Yeah,
the principal component analysis, one fetch all the data for 5 years for all of them, and then one fetched them for 2 years for the correlation. So each one has does different thing, and then I create them as a CSV, and then I just go navigate the CSV file. I thought this is I don't
Eh,
know, maybe it's not the right thing, most productive, but I thought this might be the easiest for me to
I,
just navigate the CSV file.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, no, this is great. So let's have a little bit of fun here, right? Because like I wanted to see if we could, improve some experiences for you, right? So right now I've got your table here, and unfortunately I wasn't able to share my screen reader with you. Um, but I'm gonna run my screen reader real fast so folks can kind of hear what that experience will be like, and then I'll repeat it back to you. But right now, what I'm actually doing is so I've read in your CSV, and then I set the index to the date, which means that everything in the data frame now is a float value that I can do a correlation on. Okay.
Yep.
So I have that data frame, and then I use the style attribute, and then the set caption method to set the caption to crypto currency uh, values over 2 years. And then when I show that, that gives me a caption. Oh, it actually produced. So when I did this, Khalid, it showed the whole data frame. And what's interesting is, okay, I'm going to play my screen reader real fast, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing.
Screen reader on. Screen share frame. Share line share put escape. D.
Okay.
Untitled 66. Untitled 6. Untitled entry. Right parent dot set left T.
Okay, it does not
Left
seem to
shift.
be able. I'm trying to find the table
Left
right
shift.
now,
Untitled 66 M dash Mozilla
um,
Firefox frame. Main.
but it
Left
does not
shift.
seem to be
Untitled
able to
66
find
blank.
it.
Blank code cell content with output.
Wild.
Browse mode. Private currency value USD.
So
Column
where are you viewing the
XLM dash
table? Is it
USD. Call escape.
on the
So I'm on Jupyter
browser or?
Notebooks. I'm on Jupyter Notebooks right
Okay.
now. Yeah, in the
Left shift.
everything's in
Limit
the
value.
browser, like
Inspect.
I've
Wave
said.
this page. Inspect.
And I'm gonna do a quick inspect here.
Wave the main.
Hold on.
Main content.
This should be
Region.
working.
D. Private currency values over 2
There we go.
years. Table
Okay.
with 732 rows, 35 columns. Blank. Column header. Escape.
Okay. Well, so what it said was it announced
Entry.
I finally found it, and I'm sure
Entry.
that this is like
Df equals escape. Screen
a
reader off.
I'm sure this is a common problem for you in finding stuff. So I fought through finding it, and then it announced that it had 700 or so rows, and however many columns. So I accidentally printed the entire thing. And what's interesting is when you see a data frame, I don't know how this is in the terminal, but it truncates it. And then at the bottom, it says that there's 730 rows and 34 columns. So for you to find that, you'd have to pass through the table somehow to figure out what the size is,
Yeah.
because it would be announced with the wrong size. So I'm going to demonstrate that wrong size right now. So give me a quick second, Khalid. I'm just trying to kind of build a little bit of experience for folks who might be watching about how this stuff actually does sound and feel. So I'm going to kind of show right now how data frames don't actually represent their shape appropriately to a screen reader. So I'm turning on my screen reader.
Screen reader on. Untitled table with 13 rows, 22 columns. Column header. Escape.
So it
Untitled
said
60. Untitled 6. Screen reader off.
it said table with 13 rows and like 26 columns or something like that, because pandas truncates the columns and it truncates the rows. But this is the truncated data for 2 years, right? So there's not 17 rows, there's 700 rows. So it's possible to actually build the shape of the data frame directly into the assistive technology. And I think that that would be a better experience for you.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my data frame. So I've written, it's hard for me to get my work out there and do the programming, but maybe it'll get better at some point. But right now, I've been working on some code. Get table from. So for nbconvert ally, which is open source notebook template,
Yeah.
I've been working on a function here, and it should give us some more accessible data frame here. So what I'm doing is I'm passing the data frame into this function, and the function goes and makes a beautiful soup object. Have you had to use beautiful soup for scraping yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. But we've got some beautiful soup here, and then we turn that into a string, and then we show the HTML, and now we've got a table, and this table, I'm going to turn on my screen reader again. So if you remember the last time, it said 13 rows, 28 columns. So
Yep.
when I turn on my screen reader now,
Screen reader on. Table with 731 rows, 35 columns. USD. Column header. Blank. Escape.
so it says table with 703 rows, 37
Compose blank.
columns,
Compose line. Screen reader off.
but not all of the data is presented. So what I'm actually thinking I might do, Khalid, is I might send this one over. I might upload this real fast. Maybe what I'll
Yep.
do is I'll go and I'll put this on a gist. Let me save the name here. So I'm going to save my notebook as um, man. One time I got over 1,000 untitled notebooks. I was proud of that. That was a sloppy mess. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm just saving this one as 2024 0620 stream. Uh, Pretty good default name. And for some reason, ew, that's a horrible experience. So when I renamed the notebook, it opened up an entirely different browser tab. So I just lost all of my Control Z, all my undo. Ah, silly, silly. I did not want that. Um, anyway, so now what I can do is I can go and export this. And I'm gonna say caption equals check this one out, Khalid, because you're familiar with this data. So hopefully you can go and find. Oh my God! And so when I rename my notebook, Khalid, I lost
Yeah.
my whole state, all my runtime. It's in a new tab. It's very frustrating. Maybe I'll make an issue about it, but I kind of stopped caring. Anyway, we don't need to gripe about that right now. So I am going to do. I'm gonna go to GitHub Gist. I don't know if you've ever made a gist before, but
No.
they allow you to just put a few files and share them with people. Um, Let me go and find these files real fast. Documents. Um, all right. We got our documents here. Go, and then we're in here. Okay, probably should be on a not that screen sharing. There we go now. Okay, so the nice thing about the gist is at least for folks who do drag and drop, you can do drag and drop. So I am uploading this gist and I'm making it public. And then I'm going to use the nbviewer service to share a link with you over on our shared Zoom channel.
Yep.
Once this thing uploads, it looks like it's got. I might have put a whole bunch of data in here that probably is going to make it a little bit long. Let's see. Create gist. It's still uploading. So remember when I said I did the I set the caption like a good accessibility person. I think that
Yep.
put like megabytes of data into the notebook. So let's not do that. I'm gonna just make a new gist and reshare this with you because that
So
wouldn't.
what is in the caption? Just some like why it would be megabytes? Like what?
Oh, okay. So Pandas has a special app method on it called style, and it actually lets you style the Pandas table.
Oh,
So
okay.
the default styling is to show everything. And yeah. That's why we got all of
I
the
thought the
rows.
default is just the top 5 and bottom 5.
Yeah, so that's if you just use the default representation.
Yeah.
Is index.ipynb for you. I'm going to update this gist. All right, great. We should be there in a second. Oh, the gist is a little bit slower than normal, but that's probably my connection. There's a lot going on right now between the streaming and that. All right, I'm shooting you a link and I've made a table there for you called the table for Khalid or something along those lines. And you should be able to find it. I Once I find Zoom, open Zoom. Okay. And then where is this chat? Okay, I found the chat and I'm sending you this link. All right.
Yep.
So this should take you to a
Okay.
notebook. It's not very structured. It's got a little bit of code that I've used in it, but if you T your way down, you should be able to find that table. And I'd be really curious if that life is a little better for you.
It ends with 600, let's say.
And you're not near a screen, also, you were telling me. You're just chilling out on the couch
Yep.
with your wireless keyboard because that's one of the
Yeah.
benefits of
being
blind.
being blind. My laptop is in the other room. I'm just sitting with my wireless keyboard and wireless headset.
That's amazing.
So 15 meters away.
Amazing.
So Jupyter Notebook navigation.
There's a bunch of stuff
So
before it.
table. So okay, let me see how. So the table has. So it has a table of with 12 of 35 columns and 30 of 731
Cool.
rows.
Cool. I don't check on NVDA often. So that's really cool to hear. I didn't. So that makes a lot of sense because what I've actually done is I've hidden some rows and I've hidden some columns so that you don't have it all. But that shape told you the shape of the table.
Yeah, it gave me the size and the date.
Yep.
So, okay, so the last cell has, okay, the 30th of March, 2024. Oops, why? Okay, my screen reader stopped talking. Come on. Okay, yeah, it came back. No, 1 second.
Okay. So I did add some stuff to the bottom of this that I haven't told you yet. So what I actually have cooked into this is I've repeated the column names at the bottom because visually you don't see the columns when you're at the bottom of a table. So this way there's a visual repetition of that. And then I've
So now
also
it's,
go ahead.
yep, it has the headers. When I'm moving right, it tells me which. So this is a good thing because when I'm middle halfway through the table and I'm just moving left and right, it's telling me I'm under which cryptocurrencies.
Awesome. And you don't get that in the terminal, right?
No.
No? Okay. So using a table to explore this might be a better tactile experience, audible experience.
There are some cells that have dot,
Yep,
ellipsis.
yep. So I got to
What?
fix that. That's not good.
Okay.
What? So the default. I don't know if you've heard the pandas tables do that. They have a dot dot dot. So what I plan to do is hide that from y'all, so you don't have to hear that. And that shouldn't be. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I didn't get to fixing that one. I didn't like hearing it myself. Um,
Yep.
it's wild how much I found out just by becoming literate with a screen reader. You know, you can really hear some things are irritating and some things aren't. Sometimes Orca gets weird about reading these numbers. It interprets them as currencies sometimes or things along those lines.
Okay, toward the end, I found count
mm,
730.
yeah. So that
And this
down the
is the
bottom.
last thing.
Yeah, that's the bottom. So what I added was
Yep.
I added a bunch of I added the df describe at the bottom.
Oh,
This way, it's often a thing you have to do, especially a long table.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, yeah. So that's there, but it's optionally removed. I figure it's less typing because for the most part, you usually want to understand the min and the max at the very least, right?
Yep. Table and yeah, but it would be nice if each time you can just view the data on the fly when you especially just investigating, seeing what's happening and having a like talking with the data itself.
Right, right. So I actually have a quote here up at the top. So I've been researching tables for a while. I've been getting weird with them. I've been having fun with them. It's been a experience. I'm trying to minimize the zoom.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go.
table is not pictures of data. They are catalog of data
Nice.
to be perused, parsed, referenced, and interrogated. A well-designed table will enable the information to. This is you put that there.
Yeah, this is a quote that I took from
Yep.
a blog post about table and web typography, and it really stuck with me. Right, like this idea that you should be able to like explore data and look and feel. Thank you so much for reading that quote. That was really helpful and awesome. But yeah, a well-designed table will enable the information to be read and understood and will reveal the patterns and correlations inherent in the data. So, like, when I look at your heat map problem, I don't think that I could write an equitable alt text for you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, if there's over 30 rows and 30 columns, and these correlation matrices are they're symmetric matrices, which means that the values are repeated right in the top, in the bottom left, and the top right. So half of 900, you're still at 450 different values. And then, if 10% of them are significant, then, you're like 45 values. So maybe I might be able to communicate 1 to 2% of the information there. But you can't go and have the autonomy and agency to look at that yourself. And that's the part that's a little bit frustrating to me.
Yeah, what I'm imagining, like, I don't know if there is a way to do that, but I'm thinking if you created like a heat map, at least you can, if there is a mechanism to navigate left and right, up and down, and then it tells you what is the background. If there is something like just to sometimes because you need to have a visual image in your mind so you can understand the data. It's not just only getting what is there. So it's just sometimes it's helpful to use just the arrows to go left and right, up and down,
Mm-hmm.
and get what's happening in that particular. So even with the bar chart, you know how many are there, which is the tallest, which is so it's nice if there is a way you can touch the keyboard, just go left and right, just navigate, have an idea. It's like a map, just know what's happening there. So at least you can create a mental image, and by time your visual perception even will improve to grasp even bigger data.
Right? I love that perspective from you. I really do. Because it's spot on. It's the reality of what we can actually achieve. So I'm sitting here talking over myself real fast. I just got to grab a link for you, and I'm gonna have you go back to nbviewer, and actually gonna send you a link on Zoom, and then you're gonna go over to that link on nbviewer. And what I've provided for you, Khalid, is a correlation matrix of the cryptocurrencies. This should be marked up well. It has
Yep.
the statistics at the bottom, which they're going to offset things. It's not. I wish it was easier for me to remove them right now. But this is still all a work in progress, and I appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time to do this. But we'll get this like dialed into a library, and we'll share it very soon. So I've got this link and I am sending it over. Oh my God, Zoom is just lost. Okay. All right. So there's another link. Let's go check that one
Yep,
out.
I got this.
And there should be one table on the page, and it should be your correlation matrix.
Let's try.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to make it dance. Um, okay. So now we need a config, and then
Index one.
so hopefully the columns are well marked out. So when you're in a cell, it tells you it's comparing this row to that column or something along those lines. Um,
So actually, I'm now. So index one. So it's saying index one, then Ethereum.
Yep. Yeah. So
It's 1.0,
yep.
and then X. Then after that comes in rows 3, or sorry, column 3 XLM. Is it?
Maybe
No.
I might have skipped some. I'm going getting to it right now. Yeah, let's see. So index. So it's ETH and then XLM.
Yeah. Then
So
B
CH.
BCH or
Yeah. Yep. So they're all uppercase letters. So I imagine that they're reading out letter per letter, but some of them might turn out to be a word.
okay. Now okay. I'm not sure the focus is.
Okay.
I'm losing focus. Like
Interesting.
interesting. F dash. So it says how.
So
Let
it
me
says
see how many columns are there.
it's ETH minus USD, XLM minus USD is what the rows and the columns are. So we can probably remove that suffix of USD and make that better for you.
So they use this not the problem when I'm moving. So let's see, column 2. I'm trying to. So column, I'm in. Which column? So it's I'm not sure why it's jumping. So I was in column 2, went
Mhm.
up to. I was in column 2, row 10, went up.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I will be in row 9. Then all of a sudden I found myself in column 5. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, so I have. All right. So in order to, okay, no, that's actually correct. Unfortunately, I did not put the whole correlation matrix there. I'm sorry about that. Let me do that. So I'm going to send you another one in just a second.
Yep.
And then this one, what I'm doing right now is I'm removing the USD
I'm not sure.
thing.
Is it jumping or are they
It
not in
is jumping.
order?
It is jumping.
Oh,
It is
okay.
jumping because I didn't present you the whole data frame. So this time around, I'm gonna so I have some data visibility parameter here that I can use, and this is gonna let me set the max rows. So max rows, I'm gonna set that to whatever 1,000, That's reasonable. And then we'll do max calls is 1,000. So this way, the next one I send you is going to have all of the rows. I forgot a comma. Yes, I forgot a comma. That was a helpful syntax error. Would have probably been okay. Invalid. Perhaps I forgot a comma. Where? Where? Sorry. Comma config. Where's the comma?
Let
Comma.
me tell you
Comma.
something
Go
after you
ahead.
finish, something funny that happened to me that took me like 3 hours to figure out what is the reason. So, you know, have you seen the CSV file I sent you?
Yeah.
It ends with underscore normalized.
Okay.
And I saved when I created, initially when I created the file, I wrote normalized with S, with the British spelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pulling the data with from another Python file, from another file, and I named the file with Z. I'm assuming everything.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
then
Right.
it kept me error, and I had no idea what's happening there. Keep trying, everything is going on. Then I realized after a few hours that the problem is just with the spelling of the CSV file.
Is that an off by one error? I'm kind of convinced that those are off by one errors. So like, how would you? So you had to go through and listen to every letter to like discover that?
Yeah, I just had to figure out, to go letter by letter, left, and from the far left to the right, to figure out if there is any spelling mistake there, or any dot or underscore or
Brutal,
dash, how the file it was named, and how I requested the file.
brutal, brutal. Oh boy. So I've got almost got this data frame ready for you. I uploaded the one. I don't. I want to try and make this like as easy on you as possible. So I uploaded some cruft, but I'm still. So basically, I keep just uploading the same gist. And
So I
that
can refresh it, or
um,
mean another link.
I'm going to have to send you another link because the service that we're using, nbviewer, which is provided by Project Jupyter, does caching. So, like at the rate that we are trying to collaborate here, I have to go and actually give it a direct commit number. And then this way we get a new build every time. And it's really, I don't know, it's kind of working out a little bit smoother than I expected. Here's a new link.
Yep.
This one has the full correlation matrix, and it is doesn't have those USD suffixes.
Okay.
Very cool. All right, and while you're doing this, I can go
So it
and
says column with 35 column and 40 something rows.
nice, nice. So that extra 40 there is the detail stuff at the bottom that I didn't get rid of. But otherwise, it would have been a square matrix.
Okay, what is... So for the first column, we have the name of the cryptos, so is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the same thing. So, okay, so I'm now in column 1, rows 1. Okay,
Okay.
it says index 1.
Okay. Yes.
Then I will go 1 rows down. So I'm still in column 1.
Yep.
It will say F.
Yep.
Okay, then I will go again down to the next row. So I'm supposed to be in column 1, rows 3 now.
Yep.
It says XLM 0.85. Is that correct?
XLM
No,
0.55.
0.55.
I don't know where the 0.55 is coming from. Interesting.
I don't know. It says 0.55.
Huh. Wonder
Okay,
what that
so
is.
it went. Actually, what happened? I told you I was in column 1, rows 1. Then I pressed Control Alt down arrow, so it should take me to rows, the second
Yeah.
rows in the first column.
Yeah.
And I press it the third time, and now I found myself somehow in column 20.
Whoa. Okay.
Or
So I might have messed up some syntax here, unfortunately. So I might have given you a bum demo, and I might actually. So one of the things I was thinking about before we talked earlier was that I need to start writing some tests for these things. So right now I'm explicitly saying what rows that it's in, and I'm just checking to see if I might have goofed up any math here. So here's the problem. Here's another problem that this could potentially be. Also, is it could be either a screen reader problem or a browser problem. Are you on Chrome or
I'm using
Firefox?
Firefox.
Okay, that's good to know. Because then I can go and figure out if there are
Actually,
potentially.
let me try. I will open the same link, see if there is any difference, and use Microsoft Edge.
Oh God. Okay. No promises there. But maybe it works out better. It's curious. Because
So
tables.
Microsoft Edge is supposed to be the same as Chrome because they use the same.
Oh.
Just out of curiosity.
Every browser's just Chrome in a trench coat.
Okay. That's interesting. So I'm in column 1, rows 1. I will press Control Alt down arrow. It will say XLM, so that is correct so far. NPC, then dash, neo. Actually, this is better.
Great. Great.
Actually, this is working better in Edge.
Cool. Very good to know.
It's not jumping between rows. So if I press, so I'm in column 5, row 12, and that is, okay, it says dash 0.7, 0.74.
Yeah, so dash would mean negative.
Okay, dash, yep.
So I don't know how to make those
But what currency? But it doesn't tell. No, dash. Oh, sorry. There is a cryptocurrency called dash.
Oh, yes, there is a cryptocurrency called dash. Okay. Yes,
because
I
the
see
next one after it is called Neo.
Yes, and then Doge.
Yeah, and Doge 0.71.
Yep. 0.
And then BAT
Doge
is negative correlation with BAT minus 0.15 BAT. Oh, no, God. Sorry. TRX.
Okay, TRX to what?
1 second. What? Sorry, 1 second. So this is interesting. So if I go 1 column up, then down it says, so I'm in the same position. Definitely, because I go 1 column, 1 rows up, and then 1 rows down.
Yep.
It tells me BAT minus 0.1.5. Then if I go just left and right again, so I will go 1 rows back and then return to the same rows. It tells me TRX. So I'm not sure which one is. I'm in the same.
Yeah, I understand.
Point.
I understand how that's confusing. I very much understand how that's confusing. This is super helpful. But I think we're starting to see how you might want to navigate this, though, which might be at least a positive learning outcome, right?
Yep.
It's
so
closer.
As if it has different headers, like if you go up and down, it tells you something different. If you go left and right, it tells you something different.
Okay. I might have to. So what I'm going to do. So basically I followed the spec, but the browsers don't implement the spec, and then assistive technology also has to interpret the spec. So that means that there are a few places where this could be going wrong, right? But at least we're getting to, at least you're angry about things that would make life more assistive for you, I feel.
So when I would so row 14. So how so I don't know if my understanding is correct. So the name of the cryptos are in column 1. Is that correct?
The name of the cryptos are in column 1 and they're in row
And
1.
yeah, so they go vertical, row 1, row 2, their names.
Yes, yes.
So in row 14 we have bat.
In row
14.
14, we've got, that looks about right to me. I'm opening it up, and it says row 14, column 1 is bat.
Okay, and where is TRX?
So TRX is going to be, I feel like that was, I'm looking, let me, TRX is about 5 columns above it, or 5 rows above it.
Oh, okay. So this is the interesting thing. So in what do we have in column 2?
Okay, column
Just in
2,
general.
ETH 100.63.
So do we so we have, so what do we have in the columns? Column 1, column 2, the like row 1, column
Row 1, column 1, index 1.
index 1,
Row,
and then
row 1,
row
column 2,
2.
ETH. Row 1, column 3, XLM.
Okay. So we have ETH is column 2, row 1, and also ETH is row 2, column 1.
Yes, because
Correct?
this is a correlation matrix, right?
Okay.
Right. So this is what you were asked. So this is what a heat map would be numerically. So your heat map, this is actually the numbers in the heat map that you created.
Oh, so this mean when so Doge is row 7, column 1, and then if I go to row 2, column 2, row 7, that will be the correlation between Doge and ETH.
Yes, because
Okay, now
because
it makes sense.
because this is a symmetric matrix.
Yep.
That's how the Pearson correlation matrix works, right? So it's a square matrix of all of the columns in your time series data.
Yep. So I
Square.
started to understand it better. So now that means the correlation between Doge and ETH is 0.78.
Doge
Correct?
and ETH. Yes.
Oh, congratulations. I'd say
Yeah,
that worked. So
that's
I
great.
started visualizing how it worked. It just took me some time to have.
Oh, I'm so excited. So the thing I haven't done yet, Khalid, I want to hear a little bit more about your experience, but I'm also typing up some code here, and I don't know if anybody's still watching. But what I think I should be able to do. So right now there's no color, you know. So I think I should be able to go and add some color to this. Um, okay, RGB, RGBA. Okay. So, yeah, awesome. All right, so you can't see this, Khaled, but
Yep.
it's your table that you were just looking at, right? It's the correlation matrix that you wanted to look at the whole time, but now it's just using CSS and there's heat map color on it. So not only do we have a visual representation of this data experience, but we have a non-visual representation of this data experience, which it seems like you were desiring.
Yep.
Amazing. Amazing. So honestly, Khalid, my goal today was to live program up a accessible heat map or an assistive heat map and start thinking about that. I'm glad we could figure out eventually, what it was representing. I didn't realize the challenges associated with interpreting a data frame for the first time because I do it non-linearly. And it's really interesting to share your experience and understand how it can be better.
Yep. So I'm going through the. This is interesting. So once you have a. So initially, when I was going through it, it's just repeating. I wasn't sure. I thought that it was giving me the wrong labels.
Mm-hmm.
So with Firefox, it was jumping somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But with Microsoft Edge, it's not jumping. So I'm able to move correctly when I press the shortcut, screen reader shortcut, Control Alt, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow. So it is moving cell by cell, rows by rows, or column by column. It was jumping.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to investigate that after this. I can think of the trouble with sussing out these accessibility problems is there's multiple sources of pain. So now that I have the recording though, and we have this experience, like I can go and do something with this. Yeah, let's check out the once I rewatch the recording, I'll be able to figure out and maybe explain to you about what the challenge is. But I did realize that we might have just jumped too hard into the heat map. It seems like it took everybody, or the correlation matrix took everybody a little bit of time to get there. Matt Sparrow is still hanging out. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, so I got to figure out how to get this in people's hands, right? Because it seems like it could be better once we figure out some of the browser issues. But having an open source product that we can iterate on might be a solution to getting there, I hope.
Yes. BTC.
So can you search for stuff and like be cool with that?
Let me search for BTC.
So one of the things I just did was I added some hover on the CSS, so now the numbers show up. Because remember we were talking about the color polluting things a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not showing me BTC. Isn't there BTC here? Is it?
I don't actually see BTC on here.
Okay.
I see BCH.
Yeah, BCH is what is BCH? BCH maybe it's Bitcoin Cash maybe.
Oh wow. Oh man. You know what? My video over top of the heat map looks very fun. Like as a visual background to the stream, it kind of looks fun. I love being inside a data visualization. It seriously makes me so happy. Well, cool. What do you think, Khalid? We've been rocking for like an hour and 15 minutes,
Yep.
and I really I appreciated your time. I think it's so cool that we got to like iterate on an accessibility product like in a live stream. I've always wanted to do that, and I really appreciate your patience with helping me realize that.
Yeah, not at all. Actually, that helps to find solutions.
Hope so. Hope so.
And it's always positive experience to know, like to go check things, see how things works. Like, although it took me a long time to figure out how the table was laid out, but at least at the end we managed to get to understand how it looks like. Although there should be BTC and it's not there. And
Maybe
I
the
have maybe I need to go and check my CSV file. My next challenge would be now. Honestly, the correlation, I thought it will take me 1 or 2 days. It took me like over a week to work on it. Now I need to do EDA, in-depth exploratory data analysis, and see between these 4 cryptocurrencies and see how that goes. Hopefully, I learned something from working with
cool.
the correlation to make things faster.
Well, one of the things that we might actually be able to do offline another time is see if I can get this table thing to you so you can actually be using it as your standard repper for data frames. It might actually, yeah, let's figure that out. But thank you so much for your time. This
Yeah.
was really phenomenal experience for me. And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for all your input and for trying to make things accessible.
Yeah,
We really need more people doing that.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try and get some monthly meetings going. Thank you to everybody who had the chance to watch. And here's to a more accessible future. Thank you all so much. And all right, the stream is done, man. That was
Okay,
fun.
wonderful.